Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. Now I'm doing this one live because it's just been entirely too long since I've done any live streaming, and I should try to maintain that a little bit more. I did do a quick live stream of the Battlefield 4 open beta before. That was a decent amount of fun. Let's do this EVE Talk live. If you come across this stream, feel free to post comments or suggestions for stuff for me to check in the comments, and then I will see if I can cover that. And in the meantime, I can confirm that the stream is actually working, so that's good news as well. And let's jump right in. Obviously, I did this one pretty fast after downtime. In fact, another exceptionally long downtime, around 50-55 minutes. That's actually pretty long for EVE Online. Normally, it's no longer than 30 minutes. But we are back. So let's start out with, as always, the minerals. And let's see if that bottom that started is still holding up or not. So we'll start off with titanium. Station price that I'm looking at here, 485, something like that. And the chart is a terrible chart. Unfortunately, it's also from just a few days ago that we see a data point at 4000 ISK for some reason. So it's impossible to tell at the moment from a chart point of view if there's a bottom in titanium. Price of 484 might be flat. I think I don't really see any movement in that. So let's look at Pyrite then. And here it is slowly trying. You can see that in the last week, I would say, or a bit longer, the 5-day moving average has been above the 20-day moving average. But it's really a very, very close margin. So here is the 5-day, yeah, just slowly up. It's however so slowly. So it could still be a bottom, but it's very hard to say. Current prices for Pyrite 1148, so around 11.5 ISK. So let's hope it can jump back above that. Then that would be a good sign of a bottom. Let's have a look at Megatron next. 4133, that should be up a little bit, and it is, which is very good news for my JITA investment, because I bought Pyrite at around 40.5, I think. So here you can clearly see that although it had a quick dip here, the data points are trending quite up on the medium day price. Look at that. 5-day moving average is pulled up, and 20-day moving average is slowly bending back upwards again. But prices in station 41.33, buy orders 40.19. So that's actually not bad at all. For a sign that we might just be seeing a bottom in the minerals. I bought my minerals, my Megatron, I think 200 million worth or something like that for 40.55. So it's finally above that point, despite a momentary dip of about 2 weeks. It is here in Megatron. So let's hope that this does translate in the other minerals as well. Let's have a look at isogen. Above 130, almost 131, and there's that chart. Yeah, again here you can clearly see 5-day moving average well above 20-day moving average. Data points trending upwards decently slowly, but trending upwards once again. So anything else? Yeah, Noxium, you can still get that in HiSec, but it's probably a lot more rare than the previous 4, and that one is still trending down quite seriously. In fact, has it broken 660? Yep. No, just not. 667 in station, but some other sell orders close by are at 650, 645. So that's really looking like this might still be going down. And is this also the case for Megasite? Extremely bad chart here again, hard to tell. Although I think you can see that in general the 5-day moving average is still staying below the 20-day, which means that we'll still get a slow descent. Current Megasite prices 1670 ISK. Let's have a look at the Zydrine chart. Then again, bad data chart, a lot of them for this week, but here you can, I think, also see the 5-day moving average and the medium day prices median day prices staying below the 20-day moving average, just slowly continuing a downtrend in the null-sec minerals, in the high-end ones, whereas finally, to me, it seems that the high-sec minerals, the low-end minerals, are working on a bottom, and Mexalon is definitely starting a move up. Keep in mind that that is normal, because Mexalon, is, as you can see from this 1-year chart, has known an extremely large downtrend coming from above 60 ISK, dipping below 40 ISK, and it's now finally back above that, but we're still looking at more than a 20 ISK drop on 60. That's about 1/3 drop from the what it was about a year ago. So I think it is normal that Mexalon would start its move first, because that's taken a lot more punishment than Tritanium or Pyrite, although these have also known a significant decrease, but you can still see top at 15, maybe 16 ISK, and we're still looking at 11.5. So it's really Mexalon that has made a huge downward movement, and it's also the first one to go back up. But I think it's a good sign for a trend break. I'm a little surprised that the high-end minerals such as Noxium are still trailing behind quite a bit on this movement. Noxium is still moving seriously downwards, and all the other ones are still slowly trending down, as you can see from these charts. But this is good news. You know, more activity might just be coming to EVE Online, and let's hope that this does indeed mean better days for high-sec miners, as they can get back with some decent sell prices for the minerals that they make. So let's have a look here if this has any influence on the Tech One ships. The Drake is working at a bottom around 42 million. It's back up close to 43 million, in fact. But the Drake is just like the Mexalon of the ships that's known a huge downward spike. Even after a lot of downtrends last year, where it got seriously nerfed, it still had a price of 52 after the winter expansion, 52 million, but it's still very, very low at around 43 million ISK. The Maelstrom might give a better indication, and this is decently interesting. You can see a lot more movement in this in around the 10 million ISK band, but here at the tail end, once again, I think you can see the 5-day moving average taking off, and the 20-day moving average starting to break its trend of a flat line around 175. In fact, current prices are at 182,500 almost for Maelstroms. So Tech One ships are slowly reacting as well and trying to form a bottom. Definitely the Maelstrom here, I would say this is looking like a trend break, because 20-day moving average staying well above 175 for now in the last few weeks. That's pretty interesting. Similar to the Omen right here, also going up in the last few weeks, and in fact it's a decent uptrend here, breaking almost 11 million ISK, so coming from below 10, below 9 even, and already 11 million ISK for an Omen. That's good news for me personally, because I can actually make Omens. I have a BPO that is fully researched. So yeah, here again I can see a trend break and a bottom forming. This is the Rogue then, Caldari Battleship, which right after the summer has hung around 175 for a good amount of time, but here again at the tail end you can see median day prices, 5-day moving averages well above 20-day moving average, which in fact is also moving down and settling a little bit more around 180. Current prices 185, almost 186 for rocks in Jita. That's not insignificant that we're seeing these battleships move up like that. Let's have a look at the Talos, which is mine. Price is 67 million ISK, and we are again, very interesting, seeing that same trend here, where although it was varying quite a bit in the last few weeks right after the summer, right now at the tail end you can see the 20-day moving average moving way up here, although strangely enough some of these median day prices are pretty low. It does look to me like it's trying to find a new price closer to 70 million ISK, which in fact is 67, so it needs to work a little bit on that. But yeah, Tech One ships do seem to be going up, and especially the battleships seem to be going up, following what I would call a very tentative bottom in the minerals. So what I do want to do at this point is have a look at the other battleships, if this is a general trend for all of the tech ones. So let's have a look here at the Abaddon charts. Well, here, just at the tail end, 5-day moving average is going to cross the 20-day moving average, just below 190. So it could be that the Abaddon is a little bit behind it, but you can see that it's breaking this serious downtrend that has been going on continuously. Apocalypse, yeah, here you can see it jumped right over it. 20-day moving average not moving just yet, but prices used to be just below 150, current prices 153 almost. So for the Apocalypse it's also true. So have a look at the Armageddon. Here you can clearly see the uptrend, and in fact median day price is quite a bit higher. The band is 110 to 115, current prices 120. So very, very interesting, I think, for manufacturers and miners. Here also the Raven at the tail end moving upwards from its 155 where it's been staying since basically the summer. The Rock, we had that already. The Scorpion, that's well, like right here, just like with the Abaddon, right at the tail end, you can see the 5-day moving average and the data points joining with 20-day moving average. It's not as pronounced, but it's not a clear downtrend for these ships anymore. Dominic's slowly moving up, although here they're rejoining again. But I would say for September it's mostly been around 147, current prices 149. So there you go, a little bit up as well. Hyperion, again that 5-day moving average breaking that downtrend rather clearly. Megatron, here again you can see during September it's been pretty flat, close to 150, maybe 151, something like that. But here it has broken in the last week and we're back up to 155 for a Megatron. And then we'll do a quick look at the Maelstrom, the Tempest here, again that same chart, and then the Typhoon. The Typhoon seems to be an exception. This is of course a difficult ship to actually use in doctrines or anything like that. But yeah, general, definitely a breaking point, working towards an uptrend on all of these Tech 1 battleships, which I think is very interesting. That this could indeed mean increased activity, more people wanting to go out there with battleships, people coming back to 0-0 fleets needing battleships, thus demand increasing and the price finally saying, well, this is not the correct price anymore, we're going up. So that's pretty awesome and looking pretty good. After that, if I don't get any suggestions, doesn't look like it just yet. Let me quickly have a look if everything is okay. Actually, I might just want to do that first, like that, and then I can drink. That is still looking okay. 12 minutes in. Let's move to the Tech 2 ships. That I usually check for trade worthiness. Absolution, let's see, I might want to go for a 1-year chart here. Close to an all-time low, but I do think you can see in the 1-year chart here that it's not going up and down as substantially or as often as some of the other ships. So maybe for a longer term investment, the Absolution is starting to become interesting. Current price 198, you can, and buy orders 184, you know, if you can buy them below 185, that could be a very good price for an Absolution. Considering, well, as you can see from this chart, last year for a lot of the time it's been well above 220. But it's longer term. This is a better chart. Look at this Astarte. Unfortunately, not for a buying opportunity, but for a selling opportunity. And you can clearly see here a lot more spikes right here with immediate corrections. Spike here as well, here again. And then with all these changes coming to the command ships. Yeah, all the changes that have come to the command ships, I think. Yeah, that have come to the command ships. We don't see 1.1. You can clearly see that a lot of trade money could have been made in the Astartes over the last few weeks, although you should have bought before the change to really have cashed in a lot, because you could have bought them at below 200 million ISK. Current price is almost 280, and a lot of them closer to 300 million ISK for an Astartes. But that's a very nice chart to see with these big upswings and then slowly correcting back again, giving you a buy opportunity, big upswing again, correction again, and here working on the next big upswing. So yeah, Astarte could have made a lot of trade money. Claymore, this looks just like a different scale to it, but you can see some nice spikes, although less than the Astarte. And in general, I would say Claymore pretty high. So I think I would be waiting for another correction before investing back in Claymores here at the moment. Damnation, that's just like the Absolution working on a serious downtrend here. So have a look here at the 3-month chart. Yeah, coming back close to 220. 230 for sellers, but buyers below 220. Pretty interesting again if you can buy one below 220. Let's have a look at the 1-year chart. No, just that big spike. Be careful with the Damnation. This downtrend, in my opinion, might go on for quite a bit and end up closer to 200 million. EOS, yeah, extremely expensive because of the changes done to the EOS. And I don't think I can really see enough variations to say, no, just clearly in the 3 to 320 band and no big spikes. So this is the new price for the EOS, 310 million ISK. And yeah, not enough variations in order for me to say that this is trade worthy. The Guardian has been moving more interestingly right here. As you can see, another big uptrend with some interesting data points. Let me have a quick look here on the 1-year chart just to get a feel of the, pretty much on average. So if you manage to buy at this nice dip right here close to 120, you'd be in a very good position for some trading and some selling. Current prices, yeah, there you go, 140 million ISK for Guardians at the moment. In Jita is the lowest one, and you could have bought some just right after the summer in August for around 120 or even below that on buy orders. Very, very interesting how the Guardian is moving back. You can see last year it knew these big spikes as well, that they were trade worthy. After the winter expansion, that settled down quite a lot, but it seems volatility might just be back. If I see some more spikes and the price coming back in short durations, I might just bring back the logistics Tech 2 cruisers for a closer eye on trade-worthy stuff. This is decently interesting how after this very flat time right now it seems to be moving back in a much more volatile trade-worthy way. Nighthawk working on an uptrend here, so if you have some, sell them, but I wouldn't be looking to buy just yet. Sleipnir, too stable, but definitely working on a low for the year. So once again, just like with the Absolution, if you're looking for a medium to longer term investment, this Sleipnir might just be something for you. And then the Vulture, same here, also trending back down even below the price it was before all the announced command chip changes. Yeah, you could just buy maybe a couple if you pick them up at buy orders again here below 200 million. That could be good, but keep in mind, of course, that they are in a downtrend, so it could be that you won't pick them up just like that. But this is decently interesting. I'm not seeing a lot of investment opportunities for quick trade money. All of those seems to be in a sell cycle at the moment. But yeah, I find it very, very interesting that the Guardian is moving back into such a cyclical way of setting the price with big upswings and then corrections after that. So that's interesting. If all the logistics cruisers would have this trend, I might just be looking at them a little bit more. Next up, let's have a look at Tech 3 then. I think that's going to be very bad, exactly. Oh my, yeah, this is actually really, really bad. Did the Legion break 165 on its way down? Ooh, it's trying to hold on here, just at 166. I think the reason for this downtrend here is the announcement of the SOE cruiser, which is in fact a very good cruiser, and once again is going to have a pretty bad impact on the demand for tech trees because of how versatile it is. Which is of course a strong suit to tech tree ships. You know, you can modify them to do certain specific tasks, but yeah, if you get the SOE cruiser that can do pretty much anything exploration-wise, there's really no need to invest in a tech tree that's probably going to be more expensive. So here again in the low key, you can see a downtrend here heading towards 165. It's still at 167,500, but here that downward quirk is there as well. Proteus, which was going up for a little bit, is looking to stop this momentum. In fact, average is at 185. I wouldn't be surprised. Exactly, we're seeing current price at 181 in JITA, where in fact last week we were closer to 190. So this announcement has definitely once again been detrimental to the tech tree market, with the Tengu coming below 170 and probably close to 175 here as well. Yeah, 166,800. This is again bad news for tech tree ships. I guess it is because people are seeing all of these rebalanced and all of these new ships that can do stuff that used to be unique to the tech tree ships, and they will probably be able to do all those niche jobs for a fraction of the price. If you want something that can go through bubbles, just buy a couple of interceptors. You can always buy them from me because I still have a few for sale. If you want something for in wormhole space exploration, you can just use the new SOE cruiser, which can also use a covered ops cloak, which has better drones than any of the tech trees really. Which has all the versatility needed, good speed. The only drawback is probably going to be the tank, but with 5 low slots, you know, I think you can still get a pretty good tank in that as well. And basically more and more of these ships are eating away at the jobs that the tech tree used to be the king of, and this is why we're definitely seeing them taking a serious beating. And the SOE cruiser announcement only accelerated this movement. And if you look at the Tengu chart, coming from almost 200 million, working its way towards 165, that's, you don't want to be a tech tree producer at the moment, unfortunately. Melted nano ribbons, that's not so good news for my investment, because they're still trending down. In fact, current price is in station 4,850, 4,850,000. So the uptrend is not here, but if I look at the 1 year chart, we're at the lowest point they've ever been. And so I bought them a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was not a bad idea to do that investment, because once again, if you look at this, I bought them well below 5 million. They are still well below 5 million, but on the 1 year chart, they've been above 5 million for, I would say, 70 to 80% of the time. And with spikes close to 6 million ISK. So there's definitely potential profit if that market can turn around the way it has the last few times. This is pretty interesting. I consider melted nano ribbons. Keep in mind, this is my opinion, but I did invest 200 million in that. I do consider melted nano ribbons to be buy worthy at the moment. And I think with the winter expansion, if that this could just swing back around and make us some nice ISK. I cannot be 100% sure if CCP suddenly changes something in production stuff that concerns melted nano ribbons. It could end up being a bad idea. But looking at this chart, it is in a position where I'd say 20 or 30% of the time it's below 5 million. Most of the time it's above that, and you can now buy them below 5 million. So I think it's a good investment, and pretty interesting how it kept going down, though, how it actually beat the last bottom. I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, that was my investment as well, so let's hope it picks back up. But that was the tech tree market. You know, I think melted nano ribbons, you can get that from just salvaging some sleepers. and that's one of the obvious breadwinners in wormhole space. And then the Tech 3 ships are at all-time lows and still going down because they're getting beat up quite a lot by what CCP is doing at the moment. Let's go for a quick look at R64 Materials. Dysprosium, that's taking off quite significantly. In fact, breaking 40k, current price 55k. I would say that is manipulation of some sort. Smells like it to me. Look at the chart, used to be 30-35k, going up significantly, and now this is a huge jump here. Buy orders at 40k, sell orders at 54k, that's a huge margin. There is definitely someone, an alliance, whoever, that is working this and being quite successful at it. If you have this Dysprosium for sale, and the new price point where competition starts at around 55,000, whereas in August you were looking at price below 35k, then that's some pretty good money. I could not tell you what's behind this. I would say a Nullsec Alliance, Goonswarm, something like that, trying to make some serious ISK out of this and probably being successful at it. But that's very, very high, especially if before Odyssey prices were below 10k, so that's quite significant. Neodymium, that one is slowly moving down, so but still decently flat, so I think that's pretty normal. Promethium, harder to say, 20 to 25k. Well, it's still within that band, close around the 20,000 ISK. It does come from a small dip below that, but I would say still pretty normal. And then Thulium, slow downtrend here, pretty interesting. It's more Thulium coming to the market. It is a possibility. So I would say the big movement here is Dysprosium, which has well, blown off the lid and is currently sitting at 50 to 55k, which is extremely high for Dysprosium. So it's actually not a bad suggestion for me to check these R64s once in a while. It gives you an idea on what the Nullsec alliances are actually doing that have all these moons. Next up, I'll do a quick check of the Marauders. Unfortunately, that's not a good chart. Here is the Golem. Well, that one went up quite a lot in the last week. Did it break 1 billion again? Yeah, 1.2 billion almost, 0.2 billion almost. Very interesting. Kronos, same thing. 1.01, so it is back a little bit after the announcement. But still above 1 billion. That's actually not insignificant. Here's the Paladin, close to 1 billion, yeah, above 1 billion as well. And then the Varger up, but not above 1 billion, I think. No, just it's still up here on the 5-day moving average and the data points, but not as high. Very interesting and a little bit unexpected. The Kronos one jump here last week was hype due to the live stream, but it seems that for some reason the Golem, the Paladin definitely, and then the Varger a little bit have followed suit as well and jumped by a decent amount actually. Hello Igoon. So yeah, these are the Marauders. That's not a chart I was expecting. I'm not sure what's behind it again, because the announcement spike right here, you know pretty much what the new Marauders are going to do. Then the Kronos one was a hype spike because we saw the picture, and obviously people they do have an emotional reaction to nice Evoline graphics with the deployed Kronos. So that was also unexpected, but I had an explanation for that. But here is the Golem spike and the Paladin spike and the Varger spike, and I honestly I don't have an explanation why these decided to go back up above 1 billion as well. That's a little bit strange to me. Must have something to do maybe with information that I missed. Maybe screenshots of them were released, or someone just decided, yeah, we are going to go for Marauders in the Alliance after the expansion or something like that. I'll have a look at fuels as well. Still pretty flat, below 15k, so I would say from these charts, this Caldari just below 16k, but also flat Galente flat just below 15k, and Minmatar flat below 14k. So, okay, I'll finish this thought first, and then I'll handle Igoon's comment right there. So, I think what I can say from this is that the new deployable structures won't use any fuel blocks. Because if the depot would have used fuel blocks, this would have gone way up. So there's absolutely no sign of that. At first I thought maybe that would have been the case, but I don't think it is actually. And all of them are very flat. Next up, Igoon, what should you trade in if you have less than 100 million? Well, a lot of that depends on your horizon, you know, how fast you want to have a return on the stuff that you're trading. But personally, at the moment, and keep in mind this is an opinion, if you lose your money, don't come complaining to me. But I can tell you the two investments that I have made in one of my previous videos. The first one was Mexalon, which I did manage to buy at just above 40 ISK. And I think if you look at the 1 year chart here, that we are talking about a trend break that is forming here with Mexalon going back up. And its historic normal price has been, I would say, probably above 50 ISK, and it's currently sitting at 41 ISK. And it's also the mineral that has taken the largest beating with the downtrend. So Tritanium and Pyrite, those have moved a lot less than Mexalon, which lost 1/3 of its price. Looks like to me like it's at a bottom and working on its way back up. So I would say that Mexalon is one of the investments I have made for 200 million. And the other one that I have also invested a little bit in is melted nanoribbons, and as I've said on that, it's now below 5 million, significantly below 5 million, in fact 4.8 million, below 4.5 for buy orders, which is historically very low, and 70 to 80% of the time it's been above 5 million ISK, so I do think this is a good investment. Now I cannot give you an idea of how long it's going to take for that to turn around and to make you some ISK, but if you're looking at a small amount of money that you have, personally those are two things that I would dare to invest a little bit in, because they don't cost as much as large ships like a command ship or something like that. And so you can still diversify in that, and both of them seem to be chart-wise in a very, very interesting place at very low points, where usually those products are way above what they are at the moment. So I'd say with 100 million, I'd be looking at a little bit in Mexalon, maybe 50 Mexalon, 50% melted nanoribbons or something like that. Keep in mind this is my own opinion, and I could be wrong. So whenever I give you guys some tips, I do like to try and preface that with the fact that I don't know what the market is going to do either. But yeah, if it's a small amount of money, I'd be looking at something where you don't have to invest everything in a single item, like one ship of 100 million or something like that. I feel that's a little bit too risky. These are two items that you could just invest a little bit in, however much you feel comfortable with. Let's see what Bicolor Duck has to say. Interesting, the Marauders still aren't decided. They're still discussing what the stats are gonna be. We'll probably see a spike after they are made public. So that is probably from the forums, from the features and ideas forums, where CCP has actually posted a lot of threads about stuff that's coming in Evoline Odyssey. And I guess the feedback that they're getting there is on the Marauder discussion is probably that they might need a little bit more than what's been announced so far, and if CCP actually comes through with that, that might make the Marauders better than what people were expecting, and thus we see the uptick right here in the last week in all of them after the chronos jumped up significantly as well. So that is indeed a possibility. The fact that discussions is still heavily ongoing on the forums, and if you have comments or if you have if you have any suggestions or ideas about this stuff, or that you actually use them, feel free to join in on the forum discussions there. The devs are definitely reading all that feedback and giving feedback back themselves. And it's a very active process with the player community. So if you feel that you've got stuff to say about that, feel free to go to the forums and do that. They actually appreciate that quite a lot. But thank you as well, Bicolor Doc. That is of course true. None of these changes are final and are still significantly being discussed. And this does mean, of course, that we might see some serious movements on the prices of all of these ships before EVE Online Rubicon hits on November 19th. I think I've had what I usually check. How long am I in here actually? 34 minutes, that's actually pretty decent. So what I will check finally is the Plex, which is of course always pretty damn interesting, especially if like me you have some. And we saw that spike right here at 600 million or close to it, and then it's pulled back quite significantly, in fact to 560 million. That's not a small pullback, but it looks like right here it's working its way back up towards 580, or is it above 580? That would be very good news. Yeah, 585 million once again, with a pullback to 560. So that's some really hard and fast movement that happened in the last 2 weeks in Plex, which is of course very similar to what happened last year. The only question now is, will this spike, which was the highest spike and should be coming in the next 2 or 3 weeks, if it mirrors what it did last year, is that one going to come back, or is this spike we saw here the one that mirrors this because Rubicon comes earlier than last year's winter expansion? That's very interesting. I'm gambling that we're still going higher. I think we will break 600 million on this next upswing, which has started here. I cannot be sure because the timing of EVE Online Rubicon is a little bit different from last year. But I do think you can see from the chart here that after coming back down towards 560, probably 565, close to that, will have been that small bottom. It took right back off, and it's still pulling the 20-day moving average up. Maybe if I go for the 1-year chart and have a look at what that's very interesting. Here you also see this quirk here at the end, just after that spike. But that uptrend here was quite a lot more significant during this spike. So it is going to be hard to tell. I do think we'll go back up above 600 million ISK. What I'm basing this on is last year's spike. I don't think we'll stay below that. In fact, I do expect a new highest price at some point before EVE Online Rubicon. We still have 1.5 months, something like that, before it actually hits. So plenty of time for people to try, speculate, and for some real competition to happen in the Plex market on the run up towards it. I think it's still in the cards, but it's true that that pullback did surprise me. 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and was quite severe. A pullback of 35-40 million is not nothing. And this is my hope, of course, because I do still have those Plex and I'm hoping to sell them at around 615. I'm still hoping for that, but this pullback does make it less certain than what I was 3 weeks ago or a month ago. So we'll have to see in the next 2 weeks if this spike here continues and can mirror this one breaking 620 and then going back up, because last year bottom was actually at around 480. This year's bottom here you can see around 510, something like that. So that is why I'm also expecting a new all-time high to come before EVE Online Rubicon. But I would say it started going back up for the Plexus, and we'll have to wait and see a little bit if it can actually really break through to the price that I was expecting at first. It's going to be very interesting. Either way, having bought them below 500 million ISK myself on buy orders, either way I still make a lot of ISK, but it's a price that I've set, and I'm willing to wait out for that. If it doesn't materialize, I'll just sell off the Rubicon on a lower price point, because I won't have a choice, but I still think it can happen. So this is very interesting, of course. Every year before the winter expansion we get these big spikes, a lot of trade money being made and lost in this economy. And in the Plex, but still current price of Plex is always an indication of current activity in EVE Online, and 586 million for a Plex is quite high, so I do think this means that it's quite healthy currently in EVE Online. In fact, the mineral market bottoming out also shows that there is more activity, that the summer slump is in fact over. And if people can get interested enough with all the changes in EVE Online Rubicon, yeah, then we will see probably this big spike and an uptrend for a lot of stuff. And if not, you know, the success of an expansion is also gauged by the Plex price. And then Abraham Levi asks, what about PI, which is in fact a very good question. I totally forgot about that. Because of the high-sec Pocos, of course. That's actually really good. So I will end up with, instead of with the Plex, with some PI materials. A very good point, Abraham. A quick drink. So what I do think is the biggest, I think it's in manufacturing, right? Let's see, Planetary Materials, here we go. So with EVE Online Rubicon, high-sec Pocos will become player-owned. You'll be able to fight over them, declare war, shoot them, destroy them, put your own on there. A lot of people are expecting 0-0 to make a move. A lot of them are saying the sky is falling and they'll completely take over all the Pocos. I don't think that's going to happen. For instance, CCP let us know that even in low-sec, where you've been able to destroy the NPC-owned Pocos for quite a while now, there are still left. So I don't think we'll see a mad dash by 0-0 to take all of them, but I do think they'll take specific systems and specific planets that they know are very much needed by the economy and try and make some money out of these best planets. I think that's very much possible, but I also do think that there will be high-sec alliances that will be forming to counter this. Of course, you never know, but that's what I think. So let's have a quick look here, maybe at the raw materials. That's probably not going to be something that will really show a lot, because of how much of that there is. You can really make a lot of these raw materials right away, and so that doesn't seem to have reacted to that news just yet. Next tier, is that processed bacteria? I think so. That is maybe a little bit more interesting. Biofuels, they're trending up, where they've been very low during Odyssey, below 90, and now they're back up to 110. Biomass clearly going up here. Chiral structure, big spike here. Electrolytes, maybe a trend break visible here. Let's see for some post-fuels related ones. Yeah, oxygen going up. Very interesting. Let's see that silicon up, toxic wafers, water up as well. That's very interesting that the processed materials seem to be showing an uptrend. Let's see. I'm expecting, if there is a movement, that the higher costs and the less, the fewer of them you can make in a cycle, that the bigger the impact of the news will be. So I think, is the next one refined? That's actually also tier 2, I guess. Yeah, that's also tier 2. Some of them are up, like fertilizers. Is there anything? Consumer electronics blocks, that seems like a long-term trend, but the coolants, which is again post-fuel related, up quite a bit. Let's have a look at the advanced ones then. Or is it the specialized ones? For robotics, for instance. Well, there's an uptrend right here. Let's have a look at the other ones. Vaccines, uptick. Yukomi superconductors, not. That looks pretty normal. General uptrend. Well, a lot of them do seem to be on an uptrend. Up again. Newcoms, industrial explosives up as well. ISIC transmitters. Okay, that's pretty interesting, but I'm not really getting a full picture of all of this just yet. Here's a big spike in condensates. Camera drones pretty flat, and biotech okay. Then let's have a look here at advanced commodities like a broadcast node. I do see an uptrend here. Let's have a look at 3-month charts. Might that be the announcement? This is the announcement, definitely. Integrity response drones. Nano factory, here is the announcement again, clearly. Organic mortar as well, way up. Yeah, again, self-harmonizing parkour as well. Very, yeah, that's actually interesting. In the highest tier, I would say, the advanced commodities from PI, you can see the announcement has caused an upswing on all of them. Look at that. This is clearly visible. Now in the other tiers, let's go for the specialized one. It's not as pronounced, although some of them have moved. But I think that's normal just because of how large that economy starts to be. So a lot of these have not moved just yet. And I guess the rarer ones, maybe the supercomputer, no, not the supercomputers. The rare ones, you know, like this guiding system, definitely up. And this is right around the announcement. A lot of the rare ones probably did make the move together with the advanced commodities, which have all known this movement. So definitely an upswing due to this announced change to the high-sec POCOs. But it's not uniform across the board in the lower tiers. But I did see this clearly done in, let me have a quick look here. Water was up a little bit. Was it the coolants? Refined commodities. Coolants. You can see it right here in the coolants, which is of course post-fuel related. Also capitals and posses. Let's see. That means wars, Tick 2 will take effect. Also capitals and posses. Yes, of course, those are also linked into the PI structure at the moment. But to be honest, it doesn't feel like a uniform, what could be, of course, you know, like I was saying, it doesn't look like a uniform uptrend just yet. So I think that this gives credence to the fact that that Nullsec alliances and other alliances will certainly at first go for the rare planets, the planets where like plasma planets or maybe lava planets, which produce some of the rarer stuff. They'll go for that first, and then a lot of people are expecting a jump up as well in post-fuel prices. So the coolants are up. All of these advanced commodities, because they just need a lot of stuff in general, the most advanced ones, they moved up quite significantly because this will be impacted even if it just happens to like only the plasma planets or only the lava planets. This will have an impact on all of these goods, so they are up quite a lot. And then on the other ones, it's not as pronounced. It's more of here chiral structures. Yeah, I think that's from plasma planets. These chiral structures, they are up. I know that I can produce full robotics from that, and they know, yeah, significant uptrend. Look at that. So yes, very good suggestion, Avraham. I think at the moment all of these spikes are actually, that was my brother sneezing in the back, are planet related. So the rare planets, they're expecting a lot of problems and blockades and wars being fought over that, whereas something like a gas planet or a barren planet, which are extremely common, people will still be able to get produce stuff pretty much the same way they do now, just by going somewhere else. but it's those rare planets where the market has moved quite a lot. And of course, the fact that even if it's just 10% of them or 20% of these goods that know this movement, that will have a significant impact on these very advanced commodities that need a little bit of everything, and all of those have moved significantly in tandem with the announcement. And then maybe I will have a quick look at the pulses. Where is it? Star bases. And here we go. Let's have a look at the control towers. Uptrend on the MR control tower. Medium tower down. And then the small one. Hard to tell. Caldari tower up. Medium tower up. Small tower up maybe a little bit. Oh, interesting that it's the big ones. Galactic control tower, clear uptrend here. Minmatar control tower, also a clear break in the announcement. So this does have a significant impact on the post stuff. And especially for some reason on the large ones. Look at that. All of those have this trend break right here. And then the small ones have less movement. That's a little bit up, a little bit down. And then the medium ones, yeah, move a lot less. Very interesting how is the big ones here that have all moved in tandem with some of this PI stuff. Let's have a quick look here maybe at Corp Hangar Race. That's been going on for a while. Sino generators, maybe a dive because of Sino jammer there. That one pretty flat. Jump bridge, down a little bit I would say. Moon harvesting array, also trending down. So, yep. This is pretty interesting. Let's see, stocking up on PI before the changes take place is a good idea. The overall price of goods produced will increase before they even reach the market due to NPC tax on top of player taxes. Yes, I don't actually have all the numbers of how much PI is being produced in high sec compared to low and null sec and how much of that goes to the market. But it is true that the fact that the NPC taxes remain and then a corporation will have to tax on top of that to make a profit out of their POCO does mean that in general that's going to happen. And that doesn't mean that we can expect higher prices in general for PI due to these changes. And I think it was very interesting to look at them. I do think the largest movement, which is normal, comes from stuff that comes from plasma planets. That comes from lava planets, the very rare ones, and then it moves up the chain towards structures that need almost everything or need a lot of PI goods, such as the large towers or the very advanced PI products. So yeah, that was a very, very good suggestion. I totally forgotten about that, although personally I think it's going to be the most important feature that is going to shape the direction of EVE Online when Rubicon hits. It's these wars over high-sec POCOs. It's definitely bringing the sandbox into high-sec, which usually has been so static. And in general, this will have an impact on PI. It already has. A lot of them are up. And I do think the Goon plan or the Nullsec Alliance plan is to go for high-value targets rather than dominate the entirety of high-sec. That's probably not doable. But it's going to be very interesting. I do expect a lot of wars, a lot of action, a lot of tiers, a lot of content, EVE Online content with this change. And that was a very interesting suggestion to take a look at PI. Yeah, no across the board rise to be noted here, but more specifically, like I've said a few times already, concerning the rare planets that will probably be fought over a bit more than something like a gas or a barren planet. Anyways, that's it for this EVE talk. In the end, we ended up with a 50-minute talk, so pretty long one. Thank you very much for watching and for all your suggestions, and I will see you all next time.